tell me, Amie, what you wanna do? I think I can stay with you for a while, maybe longer if I do. Hey there friends, how's it going? David Potts with Song Notes here, and today we're looking at Amie by Pure Prairie League. This is going to be a rhythm, strumming, chords kind of focus lesson, right? In the previous one, I taught the intro to this song. That intro riff, it sounds great, it's so fun to play. Separate video already exists where I teach that from beginning to end, right? But in this one, I want to show you everything else. I'll talk about the chord shapes you'll need for this song. I'll talk about strumming. I'll show you a few different options. Whether you're just getting started, you want something a bit more intermediate or advanced, I've got you covered there. So let's get into it. I do have a song sheet available, and I also have a practice track available. If you want something to play along with that has the chords on screen and it's slowed down, right? All this is on my website, songnotes.net. Check it out. You can also find my other Amie lesson there waiting for you. And enough talk. I'll see you on the other side. Let's go. So I'm going to start things off with the verse and the chorus, right? In my song sheet, I have the lyrics and chords written together, but what I want to do is talk about how long you stay on each chord. And that's not something that this type of notation is really great at. So let's switch to this, which is the chord progression, right? This is the same order you play the chords, but the way I've written it up here, it tells you exactly how many counts you're going to be on each chord. Now, I find this helpful just from a mathematical point of view of just knowing how many beats. Check out that A, the G, and the D in that first line and the second line. Notice how we're on the A for 4 counts, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the G and the D are for 2 counts each, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically it's A for 4 counts, G for 2, D for 2, and then you repeat that. A for 4, G for 2, D for 2, A for 4. And the idea is you want a steady beat, a steady tempo. So if we just picked off something manageable, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You could start singing with just this, right? I can see why you think you belong to me. I never tried to make you think or let you see one thing for yourself. Now you notice there, that last part of the second line, you stay on A for 2 measures. You just, all I'm doing here is strumming each chord 1 time. So I strummed A on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we move on to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th line, right? Now the good part is, if you master those first 2 lines I just showed you, the rest is easier, right? This A to G to D, it's the fastest chord changes we're ever gonna have in this entire song, right? So it's the only time you're gonna need it is this first part of the verse. After that, every chord is basically played for 1 or 2 measures, so no more fast changes, okay? So that's the first part. I'll talk about some strumming stuff in a second, but for now, let's just keep it simple and just strum once every time a chord changes, okay? Let's look at the rest of the verse, though. Let you see one thing for yourself, D, 2, 3, 4, D. Now you're C, 2, 3, 4, C with someone, D again, right? 2 measures. Then C for 2 measures again, and then go to E, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, E. Get ready for that chorus, right? Okay, so that is the full verse, right? Again, I'll talk about strumming in a second. I just want you to get your head wrapped around, get a handle of that chord progression, right? And then we can get into it. Now, let's look at the chorus, simple, and then I'm going to look at this whole verse chorus thing again and sort of talk about how we can level up the strumming, okay? Now the chorus, the good news is it's just more A, G, and D for the most part, but the changes are going to be slow. So it's 2 measures of A, right? A, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4 again. I think that I could stay with you. Now the B minor for a while, maybe longer if I could. Okay? Now the B minor might be tricky for you here. If you can't play the barred B minor, I recommend just doing the thinnest 3 strings, right? Or the thinnest 4 strings, no barring required, right? And if you're able, get that sort of barred second fret in there. If you need help with this, check out my website because I have a beginner chord guide. I talk about B minor, how to play it. I show you some alternatives and sort of walk you through everything you need to know to learn that one chord. But again, don't let it stop you. If you can't do a full B minor, just do the thinnest 3 strings. It's gonna work just fine. Okay, so that's what we're going to need for most of the chorus. I'm going to talk about the end of the chorus in a few minutes here, this part. Okay, that is trickier. We want to talk about some strumming, walk you up to speed with some strumming stuff first. So now we know the verse and we know the chorus, big picture. Let's talk about how we can strum things and keep them a bit more approachable here at first. One suggestion is just to do a down strum on the 1 and the 3 counts of each measure. So we're going to basically be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This lets you get used to, basically, you know, this is a relatively beginner strum pattern, but it kind of is a little bit faster than what we were doing before, right? So, for example, you could do that. So, I can see why you think you belong to me. I never tried to make you think or let you see one thing for yourself. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay? No harm in doing this to get started with things. Da, 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 tell me, Amie, what you wanna do. Okay? Once you get a handle on that, what you could do, if you want, this is a bit trickier, is you could do a bass strum, bass strum, bass strum, right? When I say bass, I'm talking about the bass note, the thickest string of whatever chord shape you're playing. So for the A, that would be the 5th string, and then you strum the full chord, right? Then you would count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Here's what it would sound like if you did that. I can see why you think you belong to me. I never tried to make you think or let you see one thing for yourself. Now you're off with someone else and I'm alone. Thought I might just see and keep you for my own. And I'll continue into the chorus and sort of finish the picture here. Amie, what you wanna do? I think I could stay with you for a while, maybe longer if I could. Okay? Again, it doesn't necessarily give you that full not flamboyant, but that full fleshed out, flashy strum that you might want to get to one day. But it's a good way to sort of get a bit of a chugging along like a train, even though you're not moving at necessarily super, super high speeds as far as complexity goes. Mixing metaphors there. Anyway, those are 2 strums you can get started with. The one that I found the most helpful as I was getting into this song is this one, okay? It's going to be a bass down, up down, 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 a 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 4. What I like about this one is it brings in the bass note, right? That sort of that arrow on the 1 count with the line under it. That's a bass note strum where you just pluck the bass note of whatever chord you're playing, or maybe the bass 2 strings, 3 strings. You're not doing a full strum though. That's the main part, is you want to kind of get the bass in there if you can. It kind of gives it a cool grounding aspect, which works well for this song. Then you just do a bass down, up down, a bass down. I can see why you think you belong to me. But here's the thing. You're going to notice I mixed up the strum there for that G and the D. And the reason why is that measure in the verse, that 2nd measure, that 4th measure, and then the 6th measure, they have 2 chords, right? The G and the D. So what we're going to do in those measures is do a bass down up, bass down up. And this might sound confusing to you, but check it out, right? For the A, bass down, up, down, up. But then for the G, I'm going to do a bass down up, bass down up. For the G and the D, bass down up, bass down up, then you go back to the A. So here's what it sounds like if we do the verse like that, okay? For every measure that has one chord, I'm just gonna do a bass down, up down, 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 up. But for those G and D measures where we're switching with two different chords in one measure, I'm gonna do a bass down, up, bass down, up. Okay? So here's what that sounds like if we do it. Ready? I'm gonna count in two measures and then go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, down below. Thought I might try to keep you for my own. Chorus. Amie, what you wanna do? I think I could stay with you for a while, maybe longer if I could. Okay, and now we're finally ready to learn this post-chorus little tag thing here. Okay, what's going on here? Well, here is what it looks like if we look at the tab that I've written up. So effectively, it's just A for one measure, and then half a measure of G and half a measure of D. But the way that we're strumming is going to be a bit interesting here, right? For the A, it's just bass strum, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then for the G and the D, what we're going to do is do a down up, right? And then we're gonna, after that down up, we'll do a strum of the chord. So it's down, up, down, down, up, down. But that down up is gonna be a scratch strum or a muted strum. The way I like to do this is just use my fleshy part of my strumming hand here. Okay, practice that. Muffle all the strings with your strumming hand. Make sure you get them all. And if you do it down up, right? Down up, down up, down up, down up. Ideally, you'll get no sound. You'll get no notes. You'll get a muted, muffled sound, right? So the tricky part is going to be A, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. It's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2. Muff that up a little bit. This is tricky to do, right? So you want to take it really slow if you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And when you do the muffled strums, the muted strums, it's okay if you just get maybe a couple of the strings. You don't need to necessarily get all 6 strings, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2. Okay? One little tip as well is you have to play it twice. So after you do the, you have to immediately go to that open A string. Woo, hey now. And then you start it over again. Here's a trick. When you do that open A string for the root note of the A, let the 4th string catch your pick. See how I did this? My pick hits the 5th string, and then it just kind of falls into that 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3. And the reason that's worth doing is it saves you from having to do this. 1, 2, right? I'm not doing 2 totally different strums. I'm sort of starting the strum here, the 4th string catches my pick, and then I finish it in the 2 count. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1 and 2, 3. Okay, I'm spending a long time on this because it's really important, number one, just to capture the vibe, and the magic of this song. And number two, you're going to use this at the end of the intro and at the end of each chorus. It's sort of, the whole band goes away for a second. It's just a rhythm guitar and a cymbal, and you kind of, or a tambourine, I guess, and you kind of get a little reset before the next verse starts, okay? So if what I just showed you is too tricky, you can just simplify it by doing this. Just single strum of A, 1, 2, 3, 4 to G, D, A, 2, 3, 4, G, D, right? And then you go back to the next verse. So that's a simple version, but if you can, try to work out that full version. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really fun to do. It takes a while to get comfortable with it. Once you get it, you're in good shape. Okay, so we know the verse now, and we know the chorus, and I've showed you how to strum along, right? Now, if you want to practice strumming this along with a backing track, I have a practice track on my website. It shows you these chord changes, right? And it's played at a slower tempo than the band's version. So what you can do is head on over there, put on this track, and then you can adjust the volume on whatever device you have and then play over it. Did I might keep for my own. Amie, what you wanna do? Okay, now that we have the verse and the chorus strumming, under control, right? Let me show you how to do the intro to this song. Now, the intro riff, this part. I do a separate lesson. I already have it. It's lesson 488. I teach that riff. I break it down. I walk you through it step by step. It's its own dedicated thing. You're going to want to check that lesson out if you want a careful walkthrough. Okay, I'm not going to recreate what I did there because I've already done it there. But there's more to the intro than just that riff. Let's start with the rhythm guitar. You hear this in the first 5 seconds of the song all by itself. Now, there's a few different ways you could play this. Effectively, it's kind of like an A major chord with a bass strum, bass strum, bass strum, bass strum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 measures total if we do 4 counts per measure. Now, there's a couple gotchas here and a little bit of nuance. If you listen to Pure Prairie League's version of this, they're actually using what sounds like an A5 voicing. Now, whenever you hear a chord written as, A5 or G5 or D5, all that means is you have the root note, in this case it's A, and then you have the perfect fifth above it, which is, in this case, E, the note E. Now, normally a major chord has the root, a major third, and a fifth, right? The 1, 3, 5, that's a major chord. This chord, A5, does not have that major third. When we play an A major, that second string note, that's our C sharp. That gives it that major sound. And compare that to an A minor. Okay, the only difference between an A minor and an A major is the second string note, right? C sharp or C. If it's an A and C and E, it's a minor chord. If it's an A and C sharp and E, it's a major chord. An A5 is getting rid of the third altogether, so it's neither major nor minor. This is what one version sounds like. Open, second, second, fifth, fifth. I'm playing 5 different notes here, technically, but all the notes are either A or E. It's just multiple versions of the fretboard, right? This is an A, an E, an A, an E, an A. Hear how it doesn't have that major or minor vibe? Now, that's a bit of a workout to do, right? If you wanted to do it, my hand's getting tired. I don't know how much I can take, but it is almost over. Okay, now I skipped to the end of the intro, which just has that little tag that I already taught you, right? You need this in the intro. Okay. But let's go backwards. And we're back at this first part, right? The A5 strum. This is one way you can do it. Again, just strum a regular A. If you want to keep it super simple, you're playing with a friend, you can just do a regular A. They can play the lead riff over this. It sounds fine. But if you want some authenticity here, I'm here for you. I'm teaching you this. Okay, I taught you that one. Another way to do it is up here. Oh, hey now. Open, 7th, 9th, 10th. This is also a voicing of A5. It's just A's and E's. I kind of like this one because we'll use this in the ending as well. What Pure Prairie League, it sounds like they're hitting this note, this 12th fret on the thinnest string. So this is the third option you have is 9th, 10th, 12th with the A root note or A bass note. Okay, you can use this one, you can use this one. Oh gosh, man, come on. You can use this one. It's up to you. Again, you don't have to do any of these. You could use a regular A. You could skip this part altogether. But I want to teach it to you for authenticity's sake. And then while that's playing, the lead riff comes in. Now, the lead riff, I'm going to use my old version of myself who is very polished up and can play it. But it's basically played on top of that A5 chord. So you have the rhythm guitar doing the A5. And then your friend comes in. Right? I'll just finish it. And when it ends, you go to the part 3, which is the transition I already taught you. All right? Okay, so that is the intro, right? Now, let's look at the outro to this song, the ending. This is where they sing. Falling in and out of love with you. Falling in and out of love with you. I don't know what I'm gonna do. You keep falling in and out of love with you. Now, if you look at page 1 of my song sheet, you'll see this, okay? You could just use the regular chord voicings. Now, you want to lightly pick all the chords there. And what that means is whatever strumming pattern you use, just don't strum all the strings. Maybe just grab a few strings here and there, okay? For context, I keep falling in and out of love with you. Falling in and out of love with you. Repeat it one more time. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Last line, I keep falling in and out of love. To D minor with you. Now this D minor with a star, if you want to do this, it's open, first, third, open. I think this is a D minor with a flat 5, so I guess it's diminished. D diminished. And then an A sus2 is how we end it. Open, second, second, open, open. Now, here are 2 different ways to play this, which capture a lot of cool vibes, right? One is if you listen to Sunday Mornings HQ, it's on YouTube. Reina Del Cid, you might have seen her guitar stuff before. She plays with her friend Tony, let me get her name right, Lindgren. And they have an amazing version of Amie. And here are the voicings they are using, okay? Tony is playing the guitar at this part. She is doing A, 5th string, right, root note, and on the thinnest 3 strings, 2nd, 5th, 5th. Falling in and out of, and then she's going to basically open A string again, and then 2nd, 3rd, 3rd. Think of this as a D sus4, right? Love with you. Okay, I can't play it as smooth as she can, but basically that's what she's using for the A, the G, and the D. She does a regular D minor with the A bass note. Then she goes to that D minor with the star, the flat 5. And then for the last chord, she is doing this weird voicing of A, where it's A, you know, E. This is a B note, and then the 2nd fret is a C sharp and an E. So if you played that, and I'm so bad at it. This is like an A sus2, but it has an extra, that has that major third in it. So it's kind of a, I guess it's an add 9 or something. Tricky to do, but here's the tab she is doing, right? If you were to sort of play it one note at a time. So she does it really well. That's one option you can do. Now the other way to play it is up here, up the neck. We're going to use this for the D, for the A. Open 7, 9, 10. And then we're going to go open 7, 9, 8 for the G. Open 7, 7, 7 for the D. Open 7, 7, 6 for the D minor. Sometimes we're going to add that open E string. And then the D minor with the star is open 6, 7, 6. And then we end with this. And that is the up the neck version as I say it. Here's what that sounds like. I keep falling in and out of love with you. Falling in and out of love with you. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I keep falling in and out of love. Skip to the D with you. Okay, and then for the A sus2, you follow that little picking pattern there for that last chord. This is a really nice chord to end with because it is an A sus2. It sounds like what they're playing on the album version, but it's way easier than the version I showed you earlier with the open second, fourth second open. Okay, so that's the ending to the song. It's tricky. Listen to Pure Prairie League. Watch the Sunday Mornings HQ with Reina and or El Cordova is her name, and her friend Tony, because they just do such a great job playing it. And I just recommend watching how folks play it, how they make this work for them. But if nothing else, you could play that intro by just lightly picking an A, a G, and an E. All right, friends, I hope you found this lesson helpful. So that'll give you everything you need to get started. Now, I have a few other things if you want to do some practice, right? One is the practice track. It's available over on my Song Notes website. It plays through the verse, chorus, chord progressions on repeat over and over. It's at a slower tempo. It shows you the chords on screen. It sort of has some drum track, guitar track, bass tracks, all of which I put together to sort of give you that nice thing that you can play along with. Work on your timing, right? It'll keep time for you, so to speak. You just sort of keep up whether you use a simple strumming pattern or something more advanced. That's available over on my Song Notes website. I also have a video where I look at my preferred way to strum this. It's a bit more advanced. I call it my secret stash version, where I use a 2-measure strumming pattern with alternating bass notes. It kind of mimics a little bit more of what you hear in the album version, but something that you can play by yourself on a guitar. So that's available for you, as well as my practice track over at songnotes.net. My other Amie lesson is over there as well if you want to learn that intro riff. And finally, I do have a song sheet that I made for this. It's 5 pages. It has all the lyrics and chords on page 1, but page 2, 3, 4, 5 give you the chord progressions, the intro stuff, right? The ending chord shapes I already showed you earlier, as well as my secret stash tab. It's all there, right? Now, it's officially licensed, and that means that the songwriters are getting paid for it, right? It is a separate purchase, though, because I don't own the copyright. I can't give it away as part of my membership, but it's officially licensed. You can find a link on where you can get it over at my website or in the link to this video. So thanks to all of you who are watching, and again, thanks to all of you who are supporting me with membership on my Song Notes website. That's what keeps the lights on around here. It makes these lessons possible. So if you've watched this far and you've never heard of my membership program, check it out. It's at songnotes.net. That's my site 100%. I run it, design it. I've made every lesson, over 500 lessons there. I have a few courses available for you, tons of great members-only content. So membership is affordable whether you join monthly or with an annual plan that gives you a little bit of a discount. Cancel anytime. You can get a refund if you join and realize it's not for you. Happy to work with you there, and no questions asked, hook you up. But in the meantime, check it out. I think if you've watched this far, I'm certain that you will like the other lessons I have. So I'll see you in the next one. And until then, my friends, take care and bye-bye.